The day had started like any other, quiet and lonely. Margaret sat by the window of her small home in Ontario, staring at the maple trees that lined her street. Their red and orange leaves danced in the wind, reminding her of the family dinners she used to host, before her son married Clara. Back then, laughter filled the house, her grandson ran through the hallways, and Margaret's cooking was everyone's favorite part of the day. But things had changed. Ever since her son's wedding, Clara had slowly built a wall between them. It wasn't that Margaret disliked her daughter-in-law. She tried, truly tried, to be kind, helpful, and understanding. But no matter what she did, Clara always seemed cold, distant, and dismissive. The calls became fewer, the visits shorter, until one day they stopped coming altogether. For months, Margaret waited by the phone, thinking maybe her son was just busy. But deep down, she knew something was wrong. Then one chilly Saturday morning, she decided to visit their house with a basket of her homemade muffins, just like old times. She wanted to surprise them, maybe spend some time with her grandson. But when she rang the doorbell, Clara opened the door and didn't even smile. "Oh, it's you," Clara said flatly. "Yes, dear, I brought some muffins for." Clara sighed, her hand still on the door. "Margaret, I told you to call before coming. We're busy." Margaret's heart sank, but she tried to stay calm. "I just wanted to see the little one, I haven't seen him in so long." That's when Clara's words cut through her like glass. "You're not family anymore, Margaret. Please, stop showing up unannounced." For a moment, time froze. Those words echoed in her ears, "You're not family anymore." Margaret's lips trembled, her eyes filled with tears, and she could barely whisper, "Not family." But Clara had already shut the door. Margaret walked back home slowly, her basket still full, her heart completely shattered. She sat at her kitchen table, staring at the muffins, wondering what she had done so wrong. The house was silent, except for the ticking of the old clock on the wall. She thought about calling her son, but she knew he wouldn't answer. He never did when Clara was around. Hours passed, the sadness turned to pain, and the pain turned into something else, resolve. She opened her laptop, logged into Facebook, and hit the "Go Live" button. Her voice shook as she began. "Hello, everyone. I'm sorry to come on like this, but I don't know who else to talk to. My daughter-in-law just told me I'm not family anymore." She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. "I spent my life raising my son alone after his father passed away. I worked 2 jobs, made sure he never went hungry, and I loved him more than anything in this world. I never thought I'd hear those words from anyone connected to him." Tears rolled down her cheeks as she continued. "I know many of you watching might be mothers or grandmothers. You give everything to your families, and sometimes, they forget. But love doesn't end just because someone stops calling you family." For a few seconds, she thought no one was watching. Then, one by one, hearts and comments began to flood in. "You are family to us, Margaret. You raised a son, you gave your heart, don't let anyone take that from you." People began sharing her live video. Within minutes, her screen showed 10 viewers, then 20, then 50. Someone commented, "Where do you live? We're nearby, can we come see you?" Margaret smiled faintly through her tears. "Oh dear, that's very kind, but you don't have to." But they did. Within an hour, cars began parking in front of her house. Strangers carrying flowers, coffee, and homemade food knocked on her door. A young mother hugged her tightly. "You remind me of my mom," she said softly. An elderly man handed her a card. "You're not alone, ma'am," he said, his eyes kind. For the first time in years, her home was filled with people again, laughter, warmth, and the smell of baked goods. Someone even brought their guitar and sang softly in the corner. Margaret looked around and whispered, "Thank you, God. You sent me family in the most unexpected way." Later that evening, her son called. His voice was shaky. "Mom, Clara showed me the video. I'm so sorry. I didn't know she said that to you." Margaret took a deep breath. "Son, I don't want to come between you and your wife. But please remember, no matter what anyone says, I will always be your mother." He paused, his voice breaking. "I know, Mom, I'll come see you tomorrow. I promise." After the call ended, Margaret looked around her cozy home filled with warmth and new friends. She realized that family wasn't just blood, it was kindness, understanding, and the people who stood beside you when your heart was breaking. That night, as she watched the sunset paint the sky in golden colors, she whispered to herself, "Sometimes you lose people you thought were family, but gain the world in return." And that's how Margaret found love again, not from those who left her, but from those who showed up.